tell people, change your approach. And so instead of asking people if I should open a business, I started telling people I'm opening a business September 1st. Now I don't have a location, I don't have money, I don't have anything, but I put it in my mind. September 1st was the day, and then so people, guess what people started saying? Yo, can I invest a little something?
The REC Experience podcast is now on air.
Guys, I'm so blessed to have the man to the left of me today, because not only has he been someone that I've been watching and listening to for a very long time, but my man drove in from the nation's flew in from the nation's capital.
I'm not going to waste 4 hours. You know, we got to be productive.
I know. Like, I feel so grateful for that. My guest today is Alfonso, and I'm not going to butcher this, Alfonso Cuadra.
Bam.
Okay, I knew it. You know, I'm East Indian descent, so we do a lot of the rolling of the tongues and stuff for names. But Alfonso, for the, you know, some of our listeners and viewers that don't know you, buddy, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, that's a long. How long do we have? No.
We'll give them the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah. We'll give you the Reader's Digest. I was on Reader's Digest, by the way.
Okay, that's awesome.
First and foremost, I guess I'm a teacher, right? I want to teach the world, change lives, help people, just get it, right? I've been getting it for a while. Been getting it. Since I was 17, I started a company. Yeah. And it was a clothing company. By the time I was 20 years old, that company was Canada-wide. Sick. And got into real estate. Yeah. And never looked back.
What took you into real estate at that age, man?
Well, sometimes I like to say that it's an embarrassing story. Yeah. Because at 21-year-old, I pretty much had figured things out financially. I made it. Right. Right. And give a 21-year-old all this money, what's he going to do?
So, he's going to find ways to spend it, that's for sure.
Right. So that was me. You know, I had the consumer mindset, right? Do you remember the spinning rims?
Yes, for sure. I was a huge fan of Dayton's.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite set of rims were Dayton's, man.
Yeah, and not so much of an investment. Okay. And so, I pretty much almost spent all the money. Sure. And almost went bankrupt. And what I discovered was that when you're in business, you're very vulnerable, right? You're vulnerable to the economy. You're vulnerable to everything else. And so when I restarted, I came back. I actually moved to Miami. That's another story. But I came back and to rebuild my company, which was in shambles. I had a different mindset. Right. Okay. And now I had the investor mindset. I read a couple books, Think and Grow Rich. This is in my early 20s, right?
Surprised that you got, that book is, one of my favorite books of all time.
It's crazy. It was given to me by my mentor in Miami. And this guy was wealthy. I mean,
he really got it.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever walked into someone's house and you're like, oh my God, is this marble? Right? You're like,
I'm a real estate agent. I do that sometimes.
Yeah, or you're on someone's boat. The guy has a yacht, right?
And you're 21 at this time.
Yeah, 22, 23.
Very easily impressionable, right?
And I thought I had made it, but I hadn't, right? I was a consumer. And anybody, I mean, if you Google people that win the lottery, what do you get? People, that lose everything in 3-4 years.
What do they say? Like, I think 90% of people who win the lottery will go bankrupt in the next 3 years of winning it. Yeah. And it probably comes back to exactly what you said, right? They just don't have the mindset.
Yeah, that's it.
Of how to hold it. They got it so quickly.
Making money is easy. I'll tell you that right now.
So glad you said
that. You can stand on the street corner. If you have two arms, you can sell something.
For sure.
Mean, hopefully it's legal.
Yes.
But
disclaimer.
But you can sell anything. Anything could be sold. Water. I mean, look at all the different businesses that we have here. Someone has made money from all of these things.
I know.
So
actually, it's so funny, man. Like I've had so many guests here, and we've never really brought that up. Like there's so much you can sell just in this room.
Look around you. I mean, this phone was the biggest selling phone in 1939, right?
Well, shout out to our executive producer and co-host, Laura.
Yeah.
She found this somewhere, I think, on Amazon, was it, Laura?
Yeah.
On Amazon? Yeah. What did you pay for this thing?
That's a fake.
Well, I get it. I know, but it's vintage.
But you bought it.
I did.
Yeah, right.
And just for that wall.
Just for that wall, right?
Yeah.
And so somebody still figured out to package it well and sell it.
When they figured that people actually want vintage-looking things still.
Yeah. So what I discovered really quickly, there's a difference between being rich, having money, and being wealthy. And being wealthy comes down to the mindset. Are you an investor, right? And so in my early 20s, I decided to continue on the business path of being an entrepreneur. But now the money that I was going to make from that, I was going to pour it into a vehicle that was bulletproof, recession-proof. And so that's what I did. I started buying, I started with a triplex, then went on to 4 units, 5 units, 6 units, 15 units, 20 units, 25 units. And we control about 500 units now.
So right now you're at 500 units.
Yeah,
that's
what we control.
Congratulations.
Yeah, under contract.
I know because we're talking off air, and I hope you're okay to share it. At a time you were homeless, man.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that? Like I'm very curious to even hear more. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we're going back to when I was 15 years old. Now we're I don't know when are you Canadian? Like
born and raised here. Born and raised here.
You're from?
I'm from. My parents are from Punjab in India.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they came immigrants.
73.
Yeah. So we came. We had the same path. We came in the 80s because of a war happening in Latin America, which Central America, El Salvador.
Oh yeah. Okay. I have friends from El Salvador.
Yeah. And so wars happening. People came, and for me it's a bit different. Because my mom was actually involved in politics. She was a journalist.
Okay.
And, speaking about what's happening.
Like mid-'80s around this time?
Well, this would be in the 70s.
In the 70s, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was actually illegally detained and brought to prison. And as a result, they had to keep me in hiding, right? My grandparents. So I was not allowed outside. I was not allowed to interact with other kids. And it was serious. It was a serious time in our lives. Sure. Yeah. And so thanks to some NGOs, some other agencies, Government of Canada, my mom was freed.
Okay.
And we're given asylum to come to Canada, right? And so we'd been moving around so much. And, I had missed a lot of educational opportunities. And so for me, school was a bit tough. Like the integration of school was tough. And you know what? They never teach anything. They never taught anything that I was interested in school.
It's funny how much time they spend on
calculus
and algebra.
Yeah, and you know what? I was bored. I was actually an entrepreneur.
Right.
Right. I was
that was you.
Yeah. Like I was trying to figure out how to make money. Right.
Right.
And I remember having a paper route at 12 years old, and subcontracting my paper route to another kid, right? And then I had a second paper route. So I had a mini enterprise, right?
Dude, it's why we're like kindred souls in that sense. I'm telling you because that was me.
Yeah.
That was me. Like the teacher's telling me that you're not going to be able to amount to anything. And here on the weekends, I'm delivering papers and making money. I kind of felt like, what are you guys going to really teach me? I mean, I probably didn't know it at that time. Yeah. Now thinking back, it's like, I knew this was going to be my play. Right? Something along these lines, right? Yeah. So go on. So now.
So I'm frustrated. At 15, I end up dropping out of high school.
Okay.
And because of some conflict at home, I also left home. And now I'm 15 years old, completely on my own in Ottawa. And had some dark moments, panhandling for change, sleeping in banks, and just had a rough time, right? But, we've all had dark moments. I mean, my dark moment might not be as dark as someone else's. Or, maybe someone would say, oh, my God, that's crazy. How did you do it? But we've all had that moment in our lives when we said to ourselves, like, why me? Right? I did have a life-changing moment. At 17, I became a father. Yeah. And that moment changed my entire life.
I'm sure it did.
I looked at this little girl named her Talia.
Yes.
She's 23 now.
Very pretty. I see her on your Instagrams and stuff like that.
I mean, she's gorgeous, smart, and also getting into real estate. But I looked
17's young, man. That's tough. So what's going on in your head? Like I want to go into your head a little bit. Like you hold this baby and You're not stable at all, obviously.
I have nothing. And I'll tell you, my dad left when I was 2 years old during the war. And so I didn't want to repeat it. I didn't know what being a father was because I never had a father. My mom was my father and my mother. And so for me, it came down to just stepping up, whatever it meant. I had no clue what it meant.
I love that.
And it wasn't until they put this little girl in my arms that everything changed, right? And so I remember even to the day, I looked at myself into the mirror and I said, Alfonso, you got to change, buddy. You got to change. And so at that moment, I found purpose, right? And you know how powerful purpose can be, like having that why. Yeah, it's got to be, and that at 17 to have discovered that can be powerful. And I always tell her, like, she's like my guardian angel, Right. Like, she came and she saved me because I was headed the other way. And so at the end of the day, I wanted her to be proud of me. That was my why. I wanted my daughter to say, my dad owns the building, not my dad cleans the building or incarcerated in the building. Because that's where I was headed, right?
For sure. Well, I love it because how many people say that to themselves, right? Even in that situation, Alfonso, that I want to make a change, I want to do something different. For you to have taken the action and done it, like just kudos to you, man, and a huge congrats. Like, not a lot of people take that step to actually do it, right?
Yeah.
Now, with again, we're talking off air. You now speak in front of thousands upon thousands of people a year, bringing this message and as well as the education on investing into real estate.
Yeah.
What is it sometimes that you just like? What is it? Why people don't take that action? Why don't they take that plunge?
Well, I'll tell you. When I was motivated. I have a daughter. I got a job, right? And because that's the only thing I knew how to do. Like, you're supposed to get a job now.
Was it instant? Like born and you like within days, weeks?
I had a job.
Yeah. See,
right? I had a job, and so
it's speed, isn't it?
No,
like you did it really quickly.
Yeah, because that's what I thought you're supposed to do.
Right.
Get a job.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. That's been ingrained. Like, you got to get a job. And so that's what I did. I went back to school.
Okay. Got
a job. I was a dishwasher.
Okay.
$5 an hour. Right. So now you can kind of sense my age.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a while ago, but
doesn't show though.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not just
so
saying
now
that,
you're sitting. I'm sitting there washing dishes.
Right.
And it's hard. Like, you want to give up. Right. 8
hours a day. Kind of thing?
Well, now I got to go to school.
Right.
I'm going to school full time, and then afterwards I got to go to this job. Right. Where, like, cleanups in. Guess who gets the cleanup when it comes to the restaurant?
Yeah,
the dishwasher.
For sure.
Yeah. And honestly, in the bathrooms, I don't know what kind of people, they wouldn't do this at home.
Right.
Like, the kind of messes that you see. Sure. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do this, but I had to keep myself motivated. So I went to the break room, and I would, every day, I would take a piece of paper and I would write down all my goals and dreams, everything that I wanted to achieve in my entire life. And so I think that, going back to your question, like, why isn't that people don't pursue it or don't go any further with it? They don't bother writing it down, right? And it has to be real for you, right? Yeah. And being motivated, I knew that I had to get not just get a job, but I had to create some sort of hustle. So I would come down to Toronto, New York City. I'd buy mixtapes, jeans, and T-shirts, and I would sell them from my locker in school.
So it wasn't the $5 that day, did you? I think it was the mixtapes that did.
Yeah. Well, I discovered something powerful.
Right.
The difference between profit and wages, right? The problem is, people will go to a workshop. They're going to go watch Gary Vee. They're going to, and they're going to go back to their old life, where society pushes you to pursue wages. They want you to pursue a job, right? And we know that if you look at all the top millionaires, billionaires of the world, they don't have a job. They get paid on performance, profits, right? So there's a big difference between me exchanging 1 hour of my time for $5 and going out and selling a pair of jeans that I bought for $20 for $60, making a $40 profit. I discovered at 17 years old, that's all I wanted to do with my time is pursue profit.
And somewhat at that age, at least, living kind of your passion, because you said you figured it out for yourself that, hey, I want to do something that also excites me. and makes you happy, right?
Yeah. And well, I knew. I mean, this is in the hip hop in the '90s, right?
Yeah.
This is like the golden era of hip hop, and that's how I started selling mixtapes and things that I was interested in. You
Who's your
should
artist?
be
Just on a
interested
side
in.
note, who's your artist and stuff like that? Like who's your
Biggie.
go-to? Yeah, okay. I'm more
Come
of a
on, man.
I'm a little bit more of a Tupac guy, but I love Biggie. I love it. I'm more of a fuck. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, it's the truth. A little
No,
bit more
but-
on the west side there, but yeah.
But you know, Biggie.
Yeah,
Biggie.
yeah. I can't. There's nothing I can say. You're not just not like you're not choosing a big name there. That's
Yeah.
an important name in history, right? Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it should be something. It should be something that you're interested in,
Right.
Because then you can, at the very beginning, when you step into being an entrepreneur, you're not going to know much, right? Unless you got an MBA. But even then, you still don't have the practical
Right.
application of it. So it should be something that you're interested in if you want to be in business, not just for the sake of being in business. So because I was really interested in that culture, I was very successful, and I could make a lot of mistakes and recover quickly, right?
Oh, that's important.
Yeah.
That's a new one, right? Because
Yeah.
you made some mistakes, but you knew you could recover quickly because it's something that you kind of were able to do in
Yeah.
your sleep, so to speak, right?
And again, to go back to $5 an hour, it just wasn't going to happen, right? I mean,
You knew that in your gut anyways, right?
it wasn't gonna. I wasn't gonna make it happen that way.
So it was a little bit of a pit stop.
I graduated high school at 19 with a vision, a dream, and an idea of opening my very own store, right? And people said I was crazy. There's a recession. There's all kinds of things that people like to say.
What are you
right?
doing, Alfonso?
Yeah,
You're crazy.
You have no
This-
money.
Yeah, like-
you have no credit.
Come on.
You have no business education.
Right.
You need to have a business degree. All the roadblocks that people put in front of themselves. And so I changed my approach. And so if you want to be successful, you got to change your approach.
Pivot.
No, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
People always ask, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Right? That means you're not confident in what you're doing. Now you're giving the power to someone else to tell you, well, you know what? There's a recession right now. They're going to give you the excuses why they didn't do it, right?
And why they're scared.
Exactly. So I always tell people, change your approach. And so instead of asking people if I should open a business, I started telling people I'm opening a business September 1st. Now, I don't have a location. I don't have money. I don't have anything. But I put it in my mind. September 1st was the day. And then so people, guess what people started saying? Yo, can I invest a little something? Right?
How could I get into it?
Yeah. Now, people thought I was crazy.
Right.
But I raised $2,700.
Okay.
And I opened September 1st with $2,700, none of my own money, my first JV.
Right. You didn't even know you were doing a JV.
Yeah,
Like,
it was just
kinda
I just
happened,
made
right?
it because you know what? I changed the approach.
Right.
I'm doing this.
Right.
When you're doing it, things will start to happen. When you start questioning yourself, when you start saying, well, maybe should I do this or I'll wait for the right time? There is no right time. That was the time to strike.
No, this is
I
interesting.
make a long story short.
No, I love
took
it.
the,
I love
the
it. Keep going.
$2,700 and
Yeah.
it turned into a chain of stores across the country, from Vancouver to Saskatchewan to all over Ontario, Quebec, and we were the #1 urban store in Canada.
Which store was that?
It's called Rugged Culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
And so you're living your passion at this time. Store's doing very, very well. When you started to expand, what I'm very curious about now, did the naysayers start to change their
At that
attitude,
point,
man?
at that point, there is even more naysayers. Now you got the bank, you got the suppliers. I was a kid, right? I was 20 years old, 21 years old. I would walk into the bank, and people would say, like, "What is happening here?"
Who
right?
are you, kid?
And so, I was determined. You got to be determined. If you talk to any entrepreneur, and you ask them, like, what was it? What was the one thing that got you to the next level? Some might say luck, which I don't really believe in luck. Some might say it was a little bit of, being in the right place at the right time. But the majority of them are going to say they were determined. Determination, you got to be determined. You cannot take no for an answer.
because you're going to hear so many no's along the way. Like
Yeah.
I've heard it my whole life. I still hear it till this day. We have a mutual friend that passed away, and when that happened, everyone said it's probably time for you to stop doing what you're doing because he was the glue that held everything together. But myself and my partner Simeon, we put on the boots and started to grow the team. The team has grown stronger. And everyone was saying you shouldn't be doing this. This is your time to quit now. And damn, did that ever propel us to another stage, right?
Yeah.
So stores closed down. We spoke about obviously going bankrupt.
No, I didn't go bankrupt.
Almost.
Yeah, I almost went bankrupt, but luckily I was on my way down. I was massively in debt, and the accountants said, you got to go bankrupt. Again, I don't accept no for an answer, right? I'm not going to give up. And my mom did teach me certain things. My mom wasn't an entrepreneur. She didn't teach me how to be an entrepreneur, but she taught me integrity. And old school, like if you borrow $1, you better
pay that back.
You better pay that back before it's due.
Yes.
My mom, and by the way, now that I have tenants all across Canada, I wish some of the tenants were like my mom. My mom paid her rent, not on the 1st, on the 25th. The rent was there, right?
Yeah.
Just in case.
You're right. In case something happens, the bank's closed, who knows?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So my mom has always taught me that integrity part. And so, when I was faced with this bankruptcy, I said, because I didn't, to be honest with you, I was 23, 24, and someone said bankrupt. I didn't really know what that meant.
Right.
Like, what does it mean?
Right.
And then he says, well, people stop calling you. Right? All these people harassing you now.
It's over.
Yeah. And
it's
I
an
said,
easy way out.
Yeah, easy. And people can, by the way, even you can be bankrupt and still crawl out of it and go to the next level or whatever. But you're going to be poison to a lot of people. Right, that's going to be a huge
stigma, right?
Yeah, that's going to be huge. I didn't know, and that wasn't the reason I didn't go bankrupt. I didn't go bankrupt. The reason was because I made a commitment, and I didn't want to be the guy that made the commitment. By the way, it was my fault, right? I misspent the money, I mismanaged the money, and I had to own it, right? I don't know if you've ever been on a diet.
Yeah, here and there, man. I'm not good with those things. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'll go on a trip and I'll gain like 15 pounds. Like I'll go to you're on a resort, 4 square meals a day, right? and so you get back and you gain all this weight, and now I have to be tough on myself.
Yeah, I know.
Like now you're only eating peanuts and water. That's it. That's what you get, right? And so
it's so funny when we do it ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
so I was like, you know what? This is my financial diet, right? I was gonna rebuild my company,
right?
Using the things that my mentor taught me in Miami, the new books, the new mindset, and I was gonna rebuild. But this time, I was going to be very much focused on taking the income I could produce and putting it into an asset that was indestructible.
Obviously, that being real estate.
Yeah.
And then, how did the speaking career start?
So the speaking career came as a result of the Reader's Digest.
Okay.
Right. You might enjoy this story, but I built this company. I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And so Reader's Digest came and they said, we want to do a story on you. And I thought it was going to be a little, in the back of the book, you get these little vignettes, stories, right? I thought it didn't be. No, it turned out to be a 7-page profile.
Wow.
That went to 15 different countries, translated in 5 different languages. And people were calling, right? And they would say, Alfonso, why don't you come and give a talk here to the group of people or whatever. And it was an opportunity at that point. I was still in my 20s. To bring my business to the next level. But I said, well, I'm not educated, right? All these things in your mind,
Self-doubt.
right? Yeah. I have an accent, right? I missed huge opportunities.
Okay.
There was there's a time where you need to maximize on the momentum. And you got to take advantage, right?
I always say that if you get knocked off the horse, it's tough. it's a lot, like it's tough to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
Ride that wave when you're on the horse, right?
Yeah. And then do more.
Yes, go
right?
faster.
Yeah. People want to slow down.
Yes.
They get into conservation mode, right?
Yes.
And that's where I was. It's like, my company's doing well.
Yeah.
I got all these properties.
Right.
Like I'm on conservation mode. Like now I got to conserve, right? And so we contract.
Right.
And so I said, no, I can't do this. It's going to be my year of yes. My year of yes. And so, sure enough, someone calls me. They're like, oh, we had a speaker.
Yeah.
He backed out, and we need another entrepreneur. Can you speak? And remember, I just promised myself, right?
Yeah, year of yes.
Yes, year of yes. So I said, okay, I'll do it. But how many people? And she said, 42 people. I said, okay. When? Tomorrow.
Well, it's good, right? It doesn't give you that much time to back out now, right?
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So it was and actually the event happened to be in a cathedral, but they were just using one of the venues in the cathedral. So I show up, and then boom, this lady comes up to me. She goes, "Slight change of plans. More people than we thought, and we have to move it into the cathedral. And it's not 42 people; it's 400 people."
Just a slight difference. Yeah.
And then now I'm like, oh boy, like, oh no, I can't do this. And you go through, the mind will start to create excuses, and everything happens so fast. And all of a sudden now I'm on stage, right? And I'm just sweating buckets, right? Yeah. I'm just sweating. There's a video of this somewhere.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I will not let it out.
Okay.
But there's points where I did this.
I was about to tell my videographer,
don't find that video. No.
No.
But there's points I did this. I had this, and it's like, like the sweat stain.
The sweat to stain.
Oh, man. And I remember thinking, like, this is horrible. Why would people do this, right? It's horrible. And so I had some sort of a talk prepared, but there was moments that I completely blanked out. Like my mind just went blank, and I just did this.
Oh, while you're up there?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go down the path that you went into a zone. And
no. My mind went blank, and then I finally would remember what to say, and then I continue saying it, and then I would go blank again, and then I would do this. Right?
This is hilarious because the viewers don't know and the listeners don't know. Like, I've seen you speak, man. Like, you're awesome to see, right? That's hilarious.
So I was going blank, and in my mind, and we have the self-talk, right?
Right.
This is horrible. This is the worst experience of my life. I can't wait for this to be over, and I'll never do this again. Like, I will never do this again. So finally, the thing is over.
Okay.
Oh, my God. And I said, I'm going to make a quick exit here. Nobody.
I'm going to dart out of here.
I don't care about any of these people. And before I could leave, this lady sees me from across the room, and she's running for me, right? And I'm like, I didn't think I was that bad, right? And she stops like right here, like as
close, yeah.
And she gets closer, and she's bawling. She's crying, and she's like, "Your story changed my life. Your use of pauses were incredible."
I love it. That strategy,
yeah. So I said, well, I guess it really doesn't matter the ums or ahs or whatever. I guess what matters is the message.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You can totally mess up. And if you have something that is genuine and that it could translate and get people to do something with their lives, you can become an excellent speaker, right?
As you mentioned, I mean, you're in control of 500 properties now, right?
Yeah.
What has that brought to you, man? What has that brought to your life now? Real estate, essentially.
Well, real estate, and by the way, my personal goal is to get to 7,500.
Okay. Why 7,500? It's an oddball number.
I like oddball numbers.
I love it. Great.
I need to be chasing something.
Yes.
Right? I need to be pursuing something.
Yes.
And I remember I said one day I want to have, 10 doors. Right? And then when you get there, you're like, oh my God. Like, the problem is we never set, and by the way, someone would say, when I say 7,500, it scares some people. Mm-hmm. But to the big dogs, that's nothing.
No.
Right?
No.
And when I get there, I'm sure I'm going to say, well, why did I set it so low? Right? And so the problem is not the fact that we set goals, is the fact that we set goals based on where we think what we can achieve. So the perspective of where we're setting the goal, we're setting goals too small.
Tony Robbins says it the best. He says that we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 5 to 7 years.
Right?
Because our brain just doesn't allow us to think that big sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And we don't have the patience to be willing to work through and get to 7,500 doors. So that's awesome. So
7,500 after that is going to be 75,000. You better believe it.
I have no doubt you're going to do it. I have no doubt you're going to.
It's been said here.
Yes, it's recorded, and you guys saw it.
Yeah, I gotta live up to it, right?
Right.
But back to your question, what has it done for me? It's given me freedom to do what I love to do, and my passion is, as you know, changing lives. Right? Through stories, through my personal experience, and getting people to get out of their own heads and just take a leap of faith and do it, because life is too short to be living below your capabilities. We're also capable of so much. We're everybody here is living below their potential.
Yes.
You know you are.
Yes.
I am.
Yep.
Everybody here is. And so if we can all live up to our potential, we would have an amazing world. I mean, we wouldn't be thinking about going to Mars. We already would be
in Mars
and whatever else that we didn't see before, right?
For sure.
It just takes one guy to say, I can go there. And then now he's making it a mission. Because if it's a mission, that is someone that cannot be stopped. Right?
Couldn't agree with you more, man.
And so the problem is we limit our potential and we're living below our potential and what we can accomplish.
I think I know how you'll answer this, but because I said, we're very we're kindred souls in that sense. Do you believe that it's what's in between the ears that stops majority of people?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You asked a question. 7,500 doors. Might seem like a lot, but it's not, right? That is a limitation that I put on myself. I have to set a benchmark, a metric, but why not 75,000 from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
But we are limited by our experiences, our memories, our paradigms, the influences of other people, and because and the problem is now. We're living in a world where the information is so accessible, people don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's too much information overload.
Yeah, people spend one guy. I talked to him. He said, I can't even remember. I can't even regurgitate the amount of hours he spent watching seminars. And so, what did you do? Is the question. And so, no, I didn't do anything yet. I'm just getting ready, but I have this new seminar that's going to tell me what to do.
Seminar junkies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So to speak.
And so this is where people get into trouble, right? With real estate, with anything, is they start overthinking, and you just got to go and do it.
About 2 months ago, I think the best compliment I got, and I shared it with my team, was a gentleman came into our office and said, I stopped listening to your podcast because I heard the one that there was a lady who bought, from 0 to 11 properties. She went in like a 2-year period.
Yeah.
And he goes, I stopped, I called her, and they bought one together, did a joint venture. He goes, I don't really need to hear any more podcasts. I was like, that is the best compliment I could get because, you don't need to listen to more. Yeah. We're here to provide the information, but it really is just picking up and doing it. Well, if someone else has done it before, you can do it too, right?
Yeah. And it's like a psychiatrist, right? Like they're not there to fix you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm going to get some sort of hate mail from some psychiatrists, but they're there to keep you going, right? And maybe some psychiatrists are not that way, but you've never heard. I never heard it where someone says, I'm cured, right? I'm cured and I no longer have to see my psychiatrist anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it just becomes this thing that people just need to become attached to whatever, and it's repetitive. They go from this workshop to that, this webinar to that webinar, this information, this book. What's one book here? Outliers? Mm-hmm. People will say, oh, you know what? Great book. This is a great book. Everybody will read a great book, and they're like, okay, well, now what? When you read this book, what are you supposed to do?
Take action.
Yeah, but what? Like it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. It's not specific. It's like stop reading more books.
Yes.
Go out and do something. Right. So. And then, but this book is so good, you recommend it to other people, right? You're like, yeah, you got to read this book. And now there's two people doing nothing, right? And it's like recommended to more people and more people and more people. So now I know this is not a book to be. It's not an action-taking book. It's meant for you to have really eloquent conversation during the cocktail parties.
Yes.
But if people can get stuck in that rat race of education.
Right.
Just, I got to know the next thing. I got to get the next book. And then they don't do anything. And so that's what I tell people all the time. Like, yeah, the education is important. You must get the education. But then you got to go out and do something.
Well, I love the fact that I'm sitting with you because that's definitely not you because of what you've done. You've actually taken a lot of action. What is it that excites you? What type of properties excite you now? Because
apartment buildings.
So is that like
that's the only thing I do?
So what's a minimum unit?
I'll flip the occasional. I'll flip the occasional property.
I saw something that you just flipping,
I'll flip just keep my guys employed, keep everything moving forward. Okay. But I'm not a flipper. Like I'm not doing like at one point I was doing 5, 10, 15 deals a year.
Flipping them?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I'll have like 2 or 3 a year or something. If I see something interesting, but it's not really my focus. My focus is buy and hold for life.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choirs. I mean, our listeners and viewers know that's all we talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of people get into real estate investing because of something that their friend did or family member did and think about it from a flipping perspective. From a guy who's done a lot of flipping, okay, as you mentioned, and now obviously talks about buy and hold. Why are you such a buy and hold guy now?
Okay, so at the end of the day, flipping is a great way to raise capital.
Okay.
But it's a job, right? Buy hold is where you find the true wealth. And I like the idea of, the higher you go in units, the more units you have in a single property, the lower the price. Like economy is a scale, right? In terms of flipping, like single family homes, like when you talk about what happened in 2008 in the U.S., people that got into trouble were people that were holding on to single family homes. People thought, I'm going to flip 5 properties at a time, and then you get caught up with the emotional part of the economy.
Right.
Apartment building is bulletproof. If the economy is doing bad, people are going to move to apartments.
To rent.
If the economy is doing good, people are going to move to apartments because they can't afford homes.
Yep.
So I think it's I would say recession friendly.
Yes.
In a sense that, I've gone through, in 20 years, I've gone through ups and downs of recessions and all kinds of things. And the apartment building, it doesn't matter what the value it is I'm not selling. Right. So I'm buying it based on numbers, and there's logic and reason behind that.
Yep.
There's no emotion, the emotion part where it comes to single family homes and flipping.
Yeah.
That is an emotional purchase. And everybody involved is emotional. But when when I'm buying a 22 unit building, we're buying it even at fair market value, but we know that the person at the other side is somewhat rational.
Yes. Because
they bought a 22 unit building. They're also an investor, so they understand what I'm looking for as an investor. So I like that, right? And so my niche would be, anywhere 13 and up.
When you say talking about your niche, are you staying like very close to your home?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Like we're looking at stuff in Saskatchewan, Alberta, even now out east.
Okay. So it doesn't scare you?
No,
I love that.
That's the beautiful part about apartment buildings.
Right.
There's enough income to be able to hire the right people. Like, I didn't get into real estate to plunge toilets, right? I want to do this.
Yes.
This is what I want to do with my time. Right? I want to inspire people, change lives, and I'm sure if people had their time back, they would be doing better things with their time than plunging toilets. Well, when you're buying the twosies and the threesies and the foursies, there's not enough money there for you to leverage other people to do the work for you. So you end up going in there, plunging toilets. It happened to me, like in my early 20s. You know, I had all these properties, and I'm in there plunging toilets. And then I look up, and guess who's looking up at me?
Yeah.
Looking down at me.
The 15s and the 20s.
The tenant.
Ah, right.
And so, like, who am I working for here, right?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Now you're going into apartments that, again, have 20 tenants. I mean, what do you say to the guys that say, "Oh my God, tenants are so crazy to deal with"?
I don't deal with tenants.
Right.
Like, we have a property management company, and we manage our own people, and we have an infrastructure in place. I mean, this is where people get so caught up with the solopreneur mentality that they have to do everything themselves. You have to leverage a team. And if you don't leverage a team, you're back to working, right? You're back to being self-employed or having a job, right? Where you got to be answering to tenants. You got to be able to create a team. My specialty is not in plunging toilets.
Right.
My specialty is more in the acquisition.
What are you looking for in terms of acquisition? Are you looking for just
big 50? 50 would be the top.
Okay.
50 to 60 would be the most. And then after that, you start competing with REITs.
Yes.
I will be at that level where I want to be able to acquire 200 at a time.
Sure.
Right? But they're at that level, it's a REIT, you're competing with REITs where they're paying ridiculous money for properties that don't even make sense. I've been at the bargaining table with other people.
Right.
Where they're overpaying for property. Doesn't make sense.
Well, I guess what I was trying to go down, like I was going down the point of when, in terms of acquisition, like along subway lines, transit lines, when you're looking at these apartments and
cash flow, baby.
Okay,
cash flow.
That's it. That's it. Don't let the emotion get involved. It's all about the numbers.
You got to have cash flow. I look at the numbers first.
Yeah.
I'll look at numbers before I even look at the property.
Sure.
I'll have it under contract before I even go and look at it because I want to make sure that I'm not wasting my time.
Right.
Time is valuable.
Yep.
Time is the most valuable thing that we have.
For sure.
And, I don't want to waste time. I mean, everything else in life, there's an abundance of. There's abundance of money, abundance of food and air. There's abundance of people. There's abundance of every commodity in life except for time. And so you want to make sure that you are investing your time in activities that are going to give you the highest return on investment on your time. And so at the end of the day, if you are walking every single property, kicking tires is what I call it.
Sure.
You're wasting a lot of. You not only are you wasting your time, but you're wasting their time.
Right.
And you haven't even made an offer.
Yeah.
Right. You don't even know if this is a property that you can even
Well, I love
buy.
that you said that, Alfonso. There's nothing wrong with tying up a property and then running it through due diligence.
Yeah.
Like, tie it up. Just take it off the market so you control it now.
That's it.
Right? There's a lot of people, I don't want to put in an offer. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You're not
It
even
doesn't
taking that
cost
first
you
step.
anything.
It doesn't cost you anything.
Right. And just then you do the. I rather put in an offer.
Right.
I have it under contract.
That's it.
And then so this is the other thing. People start negotiating right out of the gate.
Right.
Right. This, you don't even know what's on the other side.
Yes.
You haven't seen the property. How you start lowballing people when you haven't even been to the property?
You're just gonna piss people off. It just doesn't make sense. I totally.
Like I guess my strategy is, I'll go in there and I'll tie it up, and then and during the inspection I'll make decisions,
right?
Based on numbers and logic and reason and the condition, and this is when the negotiations start.
Well, I love the fact that you still till this day build the team and use the team resources, the home inspector, the financing person,
everybody.
Yeah. You're still open to JVs?
Everything. I'm in a acquisition mode, and,
right?
And no man is an island.
Yeah.
And I'm open to working with people. In fact, that's the only way I'm going to get to 75,000 doors.
I love it.
I'm not going to do it, using all my own money. It's going to take a long time. And so if I want to get to 75,000 doors, I need to be in a position where I can open it up to other people.
There's a listener out now that's listening, and there's a viewer that's watching and thinking that they're scared to take a step. What's your tip to them, man, as we close this up? What's that one tip from Alfonso of years of experience of investing, entrepreneurship, leadership? That's what we cover on this podcast. It could be anything, man, from any one of those three
I'll say this.
topics.
Everything that you want in life is at the other side of fear. right? If you feel scared, it's because it's something that is meaningful to you. And anytime you've ever done something of any significance in your life, you felt that way. So
I like that feeling in the stomach kind of thing.
Yeah. And so do it. I mean, if you feel fear, those are key indicators that you're on the right path. The only thing that can stop you now is yourself, right? So you just have to take a leap of faith and know and trust that on the other side is what you're looking for. And I'll tell you this, every single time, everything in life is at the other side of fear. Everything you've ever wanted in life is at the other side of fear. And, with my speaking, with my business, with everything that I've ever accomplished, I was always fearful of going in. And now I'm like, I can't believe, I can't even believe, I can't even fathom my life not being this way. So I was fearful. I'm still fearful,
Sure.
And I'm fearful of a lot of things. But I do it anyways. I take a leap of faith and let's go. When I look at that skyline, that's what I'm after. I want to be able. And by the way, you think the first time you go by a building like that, you're not going to be fearful, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So the bigger the fear, the better it gets. The better the reward.
I know. I was just about to say the better the return and the better the reward.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for still being a yes guy. Because when I shot this at you and you were like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it. I'm coming to Toronto. Thank you so much. Guys, if you have not checked out my boy Alfonso's Instagram page and Facebook pages, you have to, because like one of your last videos about showing the flip and allowing people to really see the inside of what you're doing, that's amazing. So thank you for what you do, man. Really appreciate it.
You know what? I appreciate you for doing this.
Thank you, man.
We talked about this is another. I mean, you must have been fearful of doing all of this.
Yeah,
right?
very.
And I mean, to have a set. I mean, you're not doing it on a low budget. I mean, you have a set, and you got things, props that you bought from Amazon, and so at the end of the day, you have invested into this, and this is why you're getting the results that you're getting because you believe in yourself.
Thank you so much.
And so what
Alfonso.
happens? People don't believe in themselves. People are real estate investors. They don't even have a business card. You have to be serious. I'll show you something. I'm going to give you my business card, and I'm going to you tell me if I'm serious just by holding it.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Right? So you got to invest in yourself.
Sure.
You got to invest in yourself, right? And so this is why the people who are successful, people that have podcasts, people that have anything in life is because they invest in themselves, in their business, and better than buying a whole bunch of junk, invest in yourself, invest in your personal development, invest in your education, invest in coaching, invest in putting together podcasts, put in the money. I mean, this mic wasn't cheap.
No.
This is a serious mic.
Yeah.
So you're serious about this is why people will take you seriously because you're serious about what you're doing.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate you noticing that because I knew I needed to get serious mics to get serious people.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I just had, as we started, and the viewers see the mics behind us, there's one behind your left shoulder there as well, that at that time it was just me.
Yeah.
And we had Laura and then Simeon would join us, but it was just one little mic. Once we started to bring the more mics and the more cameras, more serious people started to come into our lives. Yeah. It's why we started talking, all of our past guests. And so
how many listeners?
We're syndicated right across North America now with approximately 150,000 listeners weekly.
Yeah.
We're up to almost 50 episodes, and my team will correct me if I'm wrong, but 48, 49 episodes, with hundreds of episodes coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
And it was really just a dream. It was like, you know what, let's turn on the mic and kind of shoot the breeze on tips on real estate.
Yeah.
Then it changed for season 2, and we were like, you know what, our real passion is entrepreneurship. We like to meet entrepreneurs and hear their story. And that's why guys like yourself came on.
Yeah.
And so thank you again so much, Alfonso, for doing this, man. I can't tell you how much
appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you a
Love
lot.
you, brother.
And
sure.
You know what? I'm willing to come back anytime.
We would love to have you. I think we just, scratched the surface today in today's conversation. Guys, make sure, click below, all the links, get to Alfonso. As he said, he's looking for JV partners, so get at him.
Thank you for watching. We want to know, what do you want to see on the next video? Comment down below, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified the next time we're doing a video. Like, dislike, we don't care!